I'm the Ford Foundation Professor of the Practice of International Education at the Harvard Graduate School of Education. And we just concluded our annual think tank on global education, where we bring leaders of practice working at the K-12 level to educate and empower global citizens. And I was very inspired by the work that you're doing and by your commitment to expand the depth, the impact, and the reach of that work. And I hope that this video, which contains the reflections and the takeaways from many of you from that think tank, will be helpful to you in supporting your leadership in bringing others along in this important work. I also hope you find this book, Learning to Collaborate for the Global Common Good, a helpful resource in advancing those conversations that make global citizenship education an opportunity available to all students and not just to a few, because I think that the time has never been more critical to embrace this work with full force and effectiveness.
My three takeaways from the 2018 Think Tank on Global Education are: first, a process through which to include everybody in the school in the development of a global education program. Second, a process through which to see the ways in which the goals of different stakeholders overlap with the goals of developing a globally educated citizen, graduate of the master's school. And finally, to use the platinum rule, do unto others as they would have done unto themselves, rather than the golden rule, when working in intercultural communications.
Hi, my name is Amy, and my three takeaways were: number one, really listening to all the expertise in the room on global education. Number two, thinking about my global mindedness dissertation. And number three, like one of my friends, Kelly, said, that I don't think I've ever seen so many like-minded individuals in one room, and to see everybody coming from across the world, it was a life-changing experience. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Steve Sider. I've been a grateful participant for the think tank, and I want to start with three takeaways. The first takeaway for me from the think tank was Darla Deerdorf's talk the first morning, and a conversation I had with her afterwards about portfolio tasks as a way to authentically assess students in our new bachelor's degree, which has a focus on the global competencies, global citizenship. I was looking for ways to assess their work over the duration of the program, and that was a great idea that Darla came up with on how to use portfolios to measure and to serve as a living document of the living collection of the resources. Second idea or takeaway was from Jessica Ross's talk on thinking routines and visible thinking, great resource that I'll incorporate into some courses. And then thirdly, the conference has just reinvigorated my commitment to incorporate an Indigenous perspective into our courses, an authentic integrated perspective. So thanks to everyone for a great conference.
So Zoe, what was your biggest takeaway from the conference?
So my takeaway was the opportunity to create a manifesto on global learning with my awesome colleagues from BB&M.
Can you explain the manifesto?
I would love to. So I think one of the things we really took away was thinking about creating active global citizens, which leads to empowerment for students and for teachers. And we really felt like this was a moral imperative. This would lead students and teachers to feel empathy and also the realization that we are all connected.
Thank you, Zoe.
Thank you.
I'm Jessie from Malaysia. When I consider global education, I used to think that it is only cultural knowledge of the world. But now I think it has a higher purpose of guiding children to know about the responsibility as global citizen. TGE has helped me to see how I could lead my kindergarten children to gauge global issues despite them being so young. Secondly, the group members in TGE were very supportive to help me engage with other kindergartens at international platform. TGE has also provided a good framework to enhance the current global studies structure that I have and help me know how to empower my teachers to be in a better position to bring global studies to the children at school. It has been very meaningful 2 days at Harvard Graduate School of Education.
Hello everyone, this is Julia Schuester from Memphis, Tennessee, St. Agnes Academy, St. Dominic School. The Global Think Tank was so inspirational to me. It reaffirmed my own commitment to the global competencies and to instilling a love for exploration of our world with my students. It also reaffirmed what I already knew and gave me some more information about things I didn't know. Also, I was inspired by all the other people in the cohort, especially Fernando. And let's see, what else did I put on my list? I have committed to returning next year and bringing a larger group with me of my colleagues and other administration people from my school. So it rocked. Thanks. See you again soon.
Hi, my name is Li Jing. I come from China. I'm the founder of Artist Tour. Artist Tour is an educational organization focusing to develop global competency of next generation, especially in communicative skills such as art and language study and deep traveling all around the world. First, I would like to say that the course on global citizen has given me a new insights into the education for the future. Second, I would like to appreciate Harvard Graduate School of Education providing me with the access to a vast literature and opportunities to communicate with the leading educators all over the world. A global citizen in a true sense should be proud of nation, strongly attached to the culture and customs to his birthplace, and equipped with the ability required in the context of globalization.
我们来参加全球化公民的课程，是为了通过教育改变世界。但是首先，我们先改变了自己。
When I consider global education, I used to think that our International Studies and Business program was outstanding. It was something that personally and professionally I was extremely proud of. But now I think that while it's amazing, it can be better. The 2018 think tank provided me with 3 important takeaways to progress my program. First, I want to continue to teach and engage my students in conversations and work regarding the SDGs. Second, I want to foster relationships with other TGE participants to help establish a true international component to our program. The consultancy exercise was extremely valuable and helpful in that regard. And finally, I want to continue to care about the world and use it to inspire my 50, my students. Go better the world, guys. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Hi, my name is Joe Carvin. I'm the Executive Director and founder of One World, and I'm thrilled to report that this is the 3rd year I've been to the think tank, and I can tell you it gets better and better every year. It's probably the only place in the world where you have an opportunity to come together with your peers to think about global competence, what it actually means, and how you implement and execute it in today's educational system. I mentioned that here in the United States we pledge allegiance to the flag every day for 12 years and never make a pledge to humanity. I think ultimately that's the big challenge for educators today, is to recognize that we share a common fate on a crowded planet. And no place that I know of are people coming together to really think about global competence, global citizenship, and what it means to come together as humanity and the potential. So my 3 takeaways this year are: 1, the movement's getting stronger and stronger. 2, Middle Lane and Fernando put together an absolutely fantastic program to help you think about, 1, what it means to be globally competent, and 2, how to implement it in your school. So it's a really thought-provoking program in terms of execution. They're very keen on trying to help you bring global competence into the educational system. And the third takeaway, and this is a conviction that was supported by the think tank, and that is, at the end of the day, the success or failure of this work, the success or failure of humanity to come together and recognize that we share a common fate on a crowded planet will determine our future. I think ultimately there's no better work being done in the world today. I can't thank Fernando and Medellin for all the wonderful things they do, and it's so inspiring to come out of there, and I can't wait to apply everything I learned and see them next year. In the meantime, here's the global competence, here's the global citizenship, here's to our shared link to create, and if we get it right, if we do it right, we can create a new, wonderful, glorious civilization. Of that I have no doubt. So we simply need to learn how to get along. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
I'm from George Mason High School, and here's my takeaway from the Harvard think tank. I kind of knew this already, but I really was kind of impressed by the fact that I learned that my colleagues and people who are in education are still on a continuum, and you have to meet people where they are, and that kind of came home to me when I worked with groups during the day and a half that we spent together. So that's what I expect to do with my students and my faculty.
I'm also from George Mason. My takeaway was it was really great to see how many people are actually doing this work already. Being, in an area where this was new to me coming in, and a lot of schools are really far along on this. That's exciting. I think that really pumped gave me a shot in the arm, gave me some kind of energy to get moving on this. Because this is not something that's like an educational fad. This is actually kind of imperative to sustaining life and quality of life nonetheless. So I think that was really great to see that this is not new work, and it's because it's not going anywhere, and it's really important.
Yeah, and connecting to that, my takeaway was the urgency of this work, and that our mandate as 21st century educators is, in terms of students' outcomes, is to produce a student who is able to interact with people from other cultures and visit other countries, live in other countries, study in other cultures, and even work in other countries or in many countries, or traveling a lot and having jobs that take them all over the world.
My main takeaway was we are not by ourselves. We're not trying to do this in isolation. There's a lot of people that are already doing this, and I walked away with a pocket full of business cards with people that are willing to help us. We've created this little network of people that we can go to for ideas, share posters, different types of resources that we have access to. So now, being graduates of this course, now we have a network of people that we can rely on.
My name is Bettina Staud, and I work in a public school system in Virginia. And when I think and talk about global learning, I always just figured curriculum K through 12. And when I'm now thinking about global learning, I really believe I'm thinking professional development for school leadership, professional development for my teachers, professional development for family engagement. So this is a whole community undertaking, and I also need to include myself. It is an ever ongoing process. So my takeaways from this incredible experience and the think tank workshop is advocate, keep on advocating, and inspire collaboration, and have an impact. It can be small, it can be local, take it to global. go and do it now.
When I consider global education, I used to think I can only influence a handful of students by revitalizing our curriculum. My students would know more knowledge about the current world issues and to be better equipped with a second or third language, so that they can explore further in the future. But the Think Tank program has opened my eyes and helped me to widen my thoughts. Now I realize our students' scope of the knowledge of the world is more or less formulated by how I think as a teacher. I used to think inside out, but like peeking the world out of a window. Now I have to learn to position myself as an informed global citizen and to evaluate the world challenges outside in. Whenever possible, my students should think the world as their home and learn to participate and collaborate with others, no matter where they are. Thanks to Dr. Hamis and his team, my thoughts are better organized with explicit goals and roadmap of global competency that I think my students would very much benefit from the program.
I used to think global education was about equipping students with 21st century skills. Now I know that global education is about empowering students to empower others to be change agents.
I used to think global education was about travel. Now I know it's about curriculum. And I know start simple. Simple is scalable.
Hello everyone, this is Surya Naidu from Melbourne, Australia, and I really enjoyed meeting all of you in the Think Tank. Now when I consider global education, I used to think that global education was huge and insurmountable. But now I think that global education is doable, it is workable, and very, very valuable. My 3 takeaways from the 2018 Unforgettable Think Tank are that for global education to be consistent, we as educators need to be persistent in order to erode any bureaucratic barriers and traditional education models, and we need to have the courage to be able to do that. I also think that the Sustainable Development Goals provide a strong foundation to build a case for global education in any context, and I think this is a really strong takeaway for me. And finally, to me, global education is empowering and transformative and can therefore be a force to create a more peaceful and harmonious world order. Thanks everyone. Bye.
Hello. So my 3 takeaways from the think tank were: number 1, having an action-oriented approach, how taking action can really lead to meaningful, transformative learning, and how we need to engage not only the students but also teachers and the wider community in the process. The second takeaway was communication, having a strong communication strategy, making the vision visible at every opportunity was something that really stuck with me. And the last takeaway I would say is how this is really a collaborative effort, and we have an opportunity to collaborate and connect with educators from around the world who are also really passionate about global education, and I hope we'll be able to stay in touch and maybe collaborate together.
It's not enough to teach them writing and reading, but we should instill ethics and human values in their education as well. Hanal Al-Farad, Palestine. To advance global education, I will build our next generation to be globally minded. It is our human obligation to help everyone. I will teach my daughters and my students about the history of our world, our country, and our village. I will teach all humans about the rights they have using the United Nations Declaration of Human Rights. I will teach lessons based on the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals to empower my students in One World clubs at school and in class during the school day to make the world a better place. The truth is, we need to make all stakeholders of Earth see, feel, and wonder how we can work together to solve local and global problems. This way, educators, families, and communities can engage our student youth in service learning activities to cultivate a global mindset, intrinsic motivation, love of learning, and to think and problem solve. We all come from a place of love to create health, happiness, and we will all share one world. I'm Jennifer Carvin of Portchester, New York, One World Educator. This is the Harvard Think Tank for Global Education Conference, May 2018. Here's the Portchester School District Global Think Tank Team Manifesto, May 2018. We will introduce students to communities outside their world, create well-rounded citizens who can recognize the stories of others who can collaborate for positive changes. We will promote empathy, motivation, humanity, and sense of equality. We will empower individuals to make a difference and impact their world. We will give students the understanding that they have the power and responsibility to sustain the world, and we will acknowledge that we are a unified, one world to instill awareness, involvement, and initiative to create change. Is Portchester, New York, School District, One World, Global Goals to create competent student leaders. Thank you.
Global education is all about being on the ground, being in context. It's about being inquisitive about differences and trying to find those universal values that make us all human. Global education is important, it's necessary, it's our calling.
So 1 week on from the Global Think Tank in Boston, back here in Ankara, Turkey, 3 takeaways that I've brought back with me. The first one, the importance of getting the whole school team involved in the project, teachers, administrators, students, parents, school leaders. The second one is what a great focus the Sustainable Development Goals are in creating a focus for the type of students that we want to develop. And the third thing, a takeaway from my young colleague from Los Angeles, what a great word awesome is to include in a manifesto for global competence within our school.
No one is born a good citizen. No nation is born a democracy. Rather, both are processes that continue to evolve over a lifetime. Young people must be included from birth. A society that cuts off from its youth severs its lifeline. Our world is our home, and every human in it is our family.
Think Tank on Global Education at Harvard University session. I used to think that global education had just to do with global studies or social studies. But now I know that global education has to do with looking at issues that affect humanity on national and international scales and finding ways to address those issues and teaching others to do the same.
When I consider global education, I used to see it primarily in the context of after-school programming, but now I have a fuller understanding and set of resources for integrating it into the school day itself.
3 takeaways from the 2018 think tank for me are: global citizenship education is necessary for educators and students of all stages in their educational career. Secondly, the resources to be able to teach global citizenship education should be made accessible by school districts, by every entity of education, so teachers can fully implement a global citizenship curriculum to their students. And the last one is that global citizenship education requires active participation by students to develop projects that address global issues concerning social issues and civic issues in our respective communities.
My name is Myra Estrella and I am a school psychologist in the Portchester School District. I provide emotional, behavioral, and character education in the role of a school psychologist. When I thought about global education, I believed it to be lessons to be embedded in curriculum. Now I see that it is a general responsibility for all who are fortunate to educate to instill awareness, involvement, and charge in students and staff alike that will help promote an action plan for a better future. This initiative reminds us that we are not an island and that the vastness that is the world is more connected to us than we at times want to acknowledge. It is also about being mindful that we should not take things for granted in our surroundings and that together we need to recognize this in order for us to make a change for a more unified world where we are all afforded the same basic opportunities and basic needs.
Hello everyone, my name is Jennifer Mott and I am representing Park Avenue Elementary School here in Portchester, New York. I would like to take the opportunity to read my manifesto that was developed at Harvard at the Global Think Tank. Global citizenship education is the gateway in transforming our students' minds to understand that we have the responsibility and power to sustain our world. I want to impart this knowledge and new selfless way of thinking to our students and staff. Global education is not a new, innovative way of approach, but it's a necessity for sustaining humanity. We can all do this together.
Good afternoon, greetings from Boston, Massachusetts. My name is Larissa Shulkin. I am from the Global STEM Education Center, a small nonprofit organization supporting collaboration between K-12 schools in Massachusetts and international K-12 schools around the world. This is a tribute to the think tank on global education, class 2018. It was a great privilege having you all as my classmates. A big thank you and hats off to Professor Fernanda Reimers, to Mitaline Fletcher, and to all think tank great team. My top 3 takeaways are making the case for global education, learning more about innovative approaches to the curriculum development, and learning more about best practices in global education. And of course, reading a new wonderful book by Professor Fernanda Reimers and his great co-authors, Learning to Collaborate. Fantastic book. Professor Reimers gave us a homework assignment. He asked us to make as many connections as possible and to collaborate. Our students work collaboratively on multidisciplinary global STEM projects in globally dispersed multicultural teams. Let us know if you are interested in learning more about our experience for the last 10 years and how global STEM classroom programs supports co-teaching and co-learning in global STEM education. Let us know if your school would like to collaborate with our schools on global STEM projects in space exploration and renewable energy, nanotechnology, artificial intelligence, big data, data analytics, and projects devoted to the Sustainable Development Goals. We would love to hear from you, and I would love to stay in touch with you. Let's collaborate, and again, this is a tribute to the think tank on global education, class 2018. Thank you all.
Hi, this is Shelley Gaum. When I consider global education, I used to think that it was something that was going to be added curriculum and it was going to be really hard to implement. But now I realize that global education is something you can use every day in any subject and at any age. And I've learned a lot from the think tank at Harvard. I especially learned that a lot of people around the world are doing some really great things with global education at various levels, that this is something that we can actually teach our teachers to use in the future in their curriculum. And I also learned that there's no age or really size of school or socioeconomic background to start teaching global education. It should be taught in the rural areas as much as in the urban areas. And I'm very glad that I had the opportunity to meet so many people and to learn so much from the think tank. Thank you very much to everyone. Bye.
I am so grateful for my time at Harvard's think tank on global education. I was able to take away a real practical way to go to my school and say, this is how we're going to implement this. So that's wonderful. I was able to take away ideas of standards and ideas of assessment. So I feel like I have practical, tangible ways to be able to move forward in global education at my school, and I'm so thankful for that.